Hello everyone, Chris here from Midwest Coaster Fans. The news I'm about to share to you is very disturbing. This is coming out of Amusement Today, an article released on their website. The link to this will be in the description below. Greater Ohio Showmen's Association call to action, ride safety budget cuts. This was written on May 15, 2020. Dear members and friends, I'm sure many of you are concerned and worried about what the future looks like for our industry. I wanted to reach out to you personally to let you know that we are diligently working every day to have our voices heard. Our lobbyist, Amanda Sines, has been reaching out to many of the elected officials in Columbus. Have had a Zoom call with Senate Floor Leader Matt Huffman and have been in contact with Speaker of the House Larry Householder. So this is kind of just talking about where they're at here. And obviously, many of you guys know that the amusement parks in Ohio and the water parks have not been given the green light from the government in Ohio, which obviously is led by Governor DeWine. And this article goes over many details, and this is just the first part of it. And so the amusement parks are kind of led by this industry, and here is more information on this. We are currently trying to get the seats on the task force to help navigate opening mass gatherings and events again. Other important news everyone in our industry needs to be concerned about is the recent announcement that the ODA, which is the Ohio Department of Agriculture, has decided to abolish all positions within the Division of Amusement Rides, Safety, and Fairs, with the exception of one administrative position and now the vacant Chief Amusement Ride Inspector, effective May 22nd. This includes all ride inspectors, the director of fairs, and an additional administrative position. Without these positions or plans on the next step, no rides and no games will be licensed in the state of Ohio in 2020, and the future of fairs in years to come is uncertain. We've also been informed that there is strong desire within the Ohio Department of Agriculture to possibly privatize the Ride Safety Division within the state of Ohio. We have it upon good authority. This is the direction they are actively trying to and will likely move towards. We do not know whether it will be completely, and I'll go on to the next section here in a second. So basically what that's saying is that a lot of rides and games in the state of Ohio have to be inspected before they could open for the season. Right now, even as we speak here on May 19th, Governor DeWine kind of changed the wording and everything like that, but still does not allow for mass gatherings in his new administrative order, which doesn't call a stay-at-home order, but calls it something else. And here's more of this part of this article. We have also been informed there is a strong desire within the Ohio Department of Agriculture to possibly privatize the Ride Safety Division within the state of Ohio. We have, upon good authority, this is the direction they're actively trying to and will likely move towards. We do not know whether it will be completely privatized or contracted through a third party. Regardless, the many years of hard work that the GOSA, in conjunction with the OFMA, has done to protect our industry in Ohio is in jeopardy. This includes the most recent legislative measure, the implementation of Tyler's Law. For many of you that are not familiar with Tyler's Law, it was a law passed in 2017 after an amusement ride at the Ohio State Fair caused a kid by the name of Tyler to die in the accident. This led to more stringent safety standards and inspections in the state of Ohio. So that's what they are talking about here in this specific article. And Tyler's Law, made great strides towards ride inspection safety. This does and will affect every single member of GOSA. Moving to a private or third-party system passes more costs onto already financially strapped fairs and or their ride providers. If you don't believe this affects you, think of what your county fair or local festival would be like without rides. Even worse, what your season would be like without the county fairs festivals that are already struggling to survive. This is a cause for concern for us all. We need to know now what the future of Ride Safety Department looks like, and the decision on the 2020 fairs has been made by the administration and just withheld from the public. For those of you who don't know how much the Amusement Ride Safety Division does, here's a short list of their responsibilities as listed on their website. And I'm going to go over that here in just a second. But what it's basically stating is that without this Ride Safety Division, you won't have rides being inspected. So county fairs, state fairs, amusement parks, even water parks will not be able to open without this ride safety division. And there's so many tests and so many checks that need to be done before you could actually start opening up rides for the season, especially at Kings Island and Cedar Point. And these are the two major parks that everybody's concerned about, especially on our page. And so when we're talking about ride safety, we're talking about everything in Ohio. We're talking about the fairs, we're talking about games, we're talking about everything, to include water parks, to include Cedar Point, Kings Island. Everything has to be inspected. And there's a reason for that, is because if you don't inspect everything and something gets missed, then you're looking at lawsuits and other things. And the Tyler's Law that came out in 2017 was written for a reason. And the reason why that was written is to prevent stuff like that in the future from happening again. So without ride inspectors inspecting safety requirements, you will not be able to have any of the parks open for the 2020 season. And like I stated before, that is a major problem, especially for those of us that want to go to Cedar Point or Kings Island. Cedar Fair is probably aware of this, and they know what's going on in the Ohio legislation, and that is why they are legislating to try to get the parks open and try to get ride inspectors in their parks. The Ohio Division of Amusement Ride Safety and Fairs works to license and inspect all amusement rides before they are operated to verify that the rides are assembled, maintained, and operated to manufacturer specifications and recommendations. Along with their initial inspection, amusement ride safety inspectors will conduct supplemental and mid-season operational inspections on amusement rides. The inspectors evaluate everything from structural integrity, safety systems, and signage to general ride operations. Amusement rides inspected under Ohio state law include mechanical rides, roller coasters, go-karts, water rides at water parks, and inflatable devices. In addition to amusement ride inspections, inspectors ensure that midway games of skill and sideshows operating at all 94, we'll go over this more so in a second. So that goes over a brief overview of what the Ohio Division of Amusement Park Ride Safety and Fairs does. And like I said, if you laid, like what they did, if they laid off and they plan to privatize this division, and right now there are no ride inspectors, and Governor DeWine does not have any plans in the future to rehire them, then that's a problem. 94 county and independent agricultural fairs in the Ohio State Fair are skillful and properly operated. Additionally, more than 7,000 concessions inspections are done during these fairs. What can you do? And then this kind of just goes into more detail that you could reach out to your representative in the area if you're in the state of Ohio, and you could talk to them about allowing the parks to open and operate for the 2020 season. And like I said, many of our listeners here on Midwest Coaster Fans probably have gone to Cedar Point or Kings Island, and you're probably wondering, hey, is Kings Island or Cedar Point going to open? And you could go to legislature.ohio.gov, and if you live in the state of Ohio, you can contact these people. But will the Ohio State Parks open for the 2020 season? And that's a question that remains, because DeWine doesn't have any plans of allowing huge crowds in place, and there are no plans of amusement parks even reopening. Even with this new plan changing, the stay-at-home order changing to a different type of wording and different type of plan, that does not mean that the parks are going to reopen. I know many pages are kind of confused on that, but in order for the rides to reopen, the state has to rehire, and they have to bring back the ride inspectors. You cannot open any rides or attractions or games in the state of Ohio without the rides being inspected first. That doesn't mean that the parks inspect on their own. That means that the state has to provide ride inspectors, and then after those rides are inspected, they're able to open for the 2020 season. If they don't have any plans on doing that or rehiring them for the year 2020, hate to break it to everybody, and I hate to say this, but that means that Kings Island and Cedar Point will not open for the year 2020. And if that happens, I know there's going to be a lot of upset people, but this is why we brought to you this article, to explain to you what is going on right now and what does that mean for the future of the parks in Ohio. And I know you guys might be upset, mad, If you're upset or mad, contact the state legislation. Let them know you're mad. Let's get this thing going. Let's hopefully reverse this decision, because May 22nd, all these guys are fired. It means they don't plan on hiring them back again. If we could convince the state of Ohio to open and rehire and open up the parks, as long as the parks are following safe guidelines, then there should be no reason why they shouldn't allow it. But we hope that this brings more to light on what's going on with the Ohio parks. And with that being said, this is Chris signing off from Midwest Coaster fans. Until next time, thanks again for watching.